Hi Mike, great to catch up with you again yesterday. Swing looks pretty good. There are still a few issues in the backswing, and when we discussed it yesterday on the way back, if we look from down the target line, make a nice one-piece takeaway. Arms maybe get a little bit too much on the inside at that point. But then from here, instead of the club working up and behind you, if you will, along that line, so the arms at that stage start to work up as the body is turning the club behind you. Your arms tend to follow your body a little bit too much, get a little bit flat, and consequently we're in a laid off position at the top. Having said that, it's not the be all and end all. I mean, there's some funny looking backswings out on tour, much more idiosyncratic than that one you're making there. It is a little bit laid off, it is a little bit open. Having said that, I'd work a little bit more on your impact position initially and your setup position from face on. So if you want to work on that, get that other lesson that I put on YouTube for you a few months ago. Work on the idea of a one-piece takeaway and then try to get the arms to work up rather than that right elbow working behind you like that. Get the right elbow working up that line a little bit more, staying in front of the seam or in line with the seam on your shirt. That's going to get the shaft in a much better position at the top for you. A little bit less laid off, a little bit less of a flat look at that position as you're going back. So that aside, what we discussed yesterday was you moving your hands forward and your ball back. If we look at face on, we can see that the ball really, for a 6 or a 7 iron, is a little bit too far forward, but more importantly, the shaft sits a little bit too vertical at setup. That means that the club face is pointing at your target, which means the ball's going to start off on line, and then if you release it, overdraw to the left. Once you've hit one or two of those, you're going to spend all day hanging back on your right side, trying to prevent it going left, with a resultant block that follows. Now then, if we have a little look at your impact position, we discussed yesterday, as in previous sessions, that as you come into impact, the tendency is to get rid of the angle between the left arm and the shaft a little bit too soon, and the club head is thrown at the golf ball as you come through the hitting area. Now that's not what we see with good ball strikers. We showed you Hogan yesterday where from about that position the angle between the right forearm and the shaft is maintained throughout the hitting area. So from that position there to this position here, the angle between the right forearm and the shaft will be maintained. Consequently, you get a very stable club face, you get a much better swing path and the resulting better shot pattern. What we're going to do now is we're going to work on a drill where we prevent that club head being thrown at the golf ball. So you're going to take your setup, you're going to remove your left hand, put that between the shaft of the top of the grip and your right forearm, and just make some swings. And you can see as you do that, as you come through, the angle formed by the right forearm and the shaft of the golf club is now going to be maintained throughout the hitting area. You can see as you're coming in here, right forearm, shaft of the golf club, and if we were to just run that through, right forearm, shaft of the golf club, and again right forearm, shaft of the golf club. And that's a thing that you see amongst all good consistent ball strikers. You can see there as you're coming through, the hips are moving forward a little bit more during the downswing, the leg action looks a lot more stable, and more importantly the club's released properly in a quiet manner, something that's low maintenance and something that's going to stand up under pressure. If we then have a little look at you hitting some shots after that, we can see now a much better setup position. The ball's back, the hands are forward, actually looks very, very good. I mean, you felt like you were way back in your stance with the hands way forward, and you can see at that point that's not the case. Very, very strong setup position at that point. Good one-piece takeaway. Stance could maybe narrow a little bit, gets a little bit overly wide at times. Good position at the top. As you now come into it, we're going to see much less of a throwing of the club head, considering you're hitting driver as opposed to 6 iron. If we just run your 6 iron at the top left back to the same sort of position, can see as your left arm bisects your belt buckle, the position of the shaft here is down. You've already started to throw the club head at the golf ball, whereas on this one the shaft's in a totally different position, much better maintenance of that angle as you're coming into the golf ball. As you then come through, shaft leans towards your target, great position at impact, as opposed to shaft leaning away from your target, popping the ball up in the air, producing the odd drop kick, if you will, with your longer clubs. Then as you come through on this one, club head really flips through, body stopping to allow that to happen. On this one, hips keep moving forward for longer, much quieter release of the golf club. Club stays out in front of you without the club face flipping over, resulting in shots that start to the right and then either stay there or draw back to your target without drawing too much to the left. Like I said, we discussed a lot of things yesterday. The key areas really short term are to move the ball back and the hands forward, and then to maintain the angle created here between the right forearm and the shaft throughout the hitting area, as we see on the drill that we did yesterday. Just make that a little bit bigger for you. Very quiet on the way through. Let the body just respond. We don't want to roll underneath it. We just want to swing the club through, letting the left hand prevent everything from flipping back and the club head being thrown at the ball. Really important. Remember what we said yesterday, Mike. All other things aside, the only thing the golf ball understands is impact. If you can improve your impact position, you're going to be a much more consistent player going into next season. Well done, good luck, and if you need any more, give us a call. Bye.